instead of wasting time, you can start delivering presentation. I will share a link to download files and presentation to work with India. Thank you, India.
Hello everyone. I'm just going to share. Share my screen. And let's get to the presentation. So can everyone see my presentation? Yes.
Yes, it is visible.
Okay, so I'll just go here. Okay. So today's topic is data visualization using Power BI. My name is Indira Bandari, and I'm a Microsoft Data Platform MVP, working as a BI and SQL lead in a healthcare company in New Zealand. I have recently started a Kids Tech Charitable Trust because I have been teaching kids about technology. I'll just share my story. I have started teaching kids in 2016 using Constructive for game development. And that year I started for 9 to 12-year-old kids. And they participated along with high school kids and submitted about 9 games. And at the end, two of the kids that submitted from our group have won the second and third prize. So that's what has motivated me to teach kids. So from then onwards, I started teaching about databases and data visualizations using Power BI. So when I saw Adam's message on Slack, I usually don't get on Slack, but somehow I went on Slack and I saw that she was looking for some presenter on Power BI. So I just replied to her message and then I got on board. So so that's how I have agreed to present here. And because of the community work that I have done, Microsoft has awarded me a MVP award. So it's called Most Valuable Professional, and there are about 3,000 all over the world who received this award. And if you want to contact me, the contact details are at the footer and they come in all the slides. Okay, so without further ado, let's start. I'm not going to cover today's agenda. I'm not going to cover what visualization is and all the basics because this is the last session. Earlier presenters must have covered. I'll just get to the point. What is Power BI? I'm going to cover two data sets. One is analyzing flavors of cocoa. I picked up this data set from Kaggle, and also I'm going to share with you how I have done a visualization using a Google form. A quiz was prepared using Google form. So how I connected that Google form into Power BI and visualized who the winners are. And also I'm just going to briefly touch AI topics in Power BI because this is data science, right? So I just want to touch base, but I won't go deep into it because we won't be having time. So let's get on to it. What is Power BI? This is this looks a bit complicated. So here, Power BI Desktop and Excel. Power BI Desktop grew from Excel. And then this is a client version, which we are going to use today. So what is Power BI is it has a bit of complicated architecture. So if you look at Power BI here, you can get data from numerous sources, and that has a Power Query editor from which you can get data and then create the reports. This part is the one that we are going to focus on. There are also other components. After you create the Power BI file, the report in Power BI, you can publish into Power BI service. And how Power BI service works is you have licenses like Power BI Pro and Power BI Embedded and Power BI Premium. Power BI Premium capacity is being used by enterprise level people, so they can they can share the Power BI reports and dashboards that they create in Power BI service using premium capacity. So that means you can share a lot of data within the premium capacity. And there is a gateway that uses this, that is being used with the premium capacity, and the gateway is used for refreshing the data sets. You can connect using Power BI, you can connect to online resources, cloud resources, as well as on-premise resources, local resources and other resources. And you can also, when you are creating Power BI reports, you can design that for Power BI mobile apps as well. So that's briefly about, in 2 minutes, about what is Power BI. So now, if you want to install Power BI, I have shared the link also in the chat. You can download Power BI from powerbi.microsoft.com. Get started. So, and also this is a monthly new release with lots of new features. So this monthly new release has been happening from 2015 for the last 5 years. We just celebrated. I think a couple of months ago, we celebrated the 5 years for Power BI. So I'll just go through how to install before I continue. I'm just copying this. And if I go here.
I have pasted it. You may continue.
No, I just want to show how to.
Okay, all right.
Oh, the link that I pasted is wrong, I think. I'll just go here. Google. Download Power BI desktop. And if you go to this downloads, see here, I think I'll paste this link in the presentation as well as in the chat. So, okay, chat.
So we have one question, Indira. Is there a way to share your reports if a user has a Mac machine?
Mac machine? No. At this stage, no. We can't even develop reports in Mac. So it has to be a Windows one. That's a good question, though. Yeah, I have difficulty when kids have Macs. I have difficulty, and then I have to provide them with Windows machines, unless they have a. So the question is, share the report, is it? Okay, let me look at the chat. I'm just pasting the link here for downloading. So from once you download, I'll just put the chat away. So here, if you look at the details, you have, see if you click on download, you will be prompted with Power BI desktop setup x64 and normal Power BI desktop. If you have a 64-bit machine, choose the x64. Otherwise, choose the Power BI setup, just the Power BI setup. If you have some old computers and yeah, and then you have all the requirements here. So that's what I wanted to show here. So the question regarding the question, if you are sharing, if you just want to share something that you have that you have already built on a Windows machine, you can just upload them onto app.powerbi service. So it's it's this part I'm talking about, Power BI service. So if you upload that, then you can share it within the organization. So that's the answer to that query, to that question. Okay, so now let's continue. So once you download, you can install, and then okay, so now once you download, you can open the Power BI desktop file. And then the first step is you need to get data into Power BI. The data can be lot of data sources. So the process is for developing a typical BI, Power BI life cycle is you get the data, and then you transform the data. For getting the data, there is a get data button. I'll go through the process, and you click on, usually you click on either load or transform data. If you don't want to transform data, you can just click on the load button. Otherwise, you just click on the transform data and do your cleaning, changing the data types, all those things in transform data. And then you create a model. If you are just importing just one table like we are doing today, we don't need to create a big model because it's just one table. And then you start visualizing with graphs and charts and slicers, and then you publish it to the Power BI service. So we are not going to cover publishing today. We are just going to cover 1, 2, 3, 4 steps today. Okay, so first data set that we are going to use is visualize flavors of chocolate. The link is this on Kaggle. Let's look at the data set first. So this is chocolate is one of the most popular candies in the world. Who doesn't love chocolate? So each year, residents of the US collectively eat more than 2.8 billion pounds. Oh my God. However, not only chocolate bars are created equal, this dataset contains expert ratings. So this dataset is a review, contains reviews of 1,700 individual chocolate bars, along with information on their regional origin, percentage of cocoa. You must have seen percentage of cocoa is 50%, 70%, 80%. Some like dark chocolate, some like, I think kids don't like dark chocolate and things like that, right? The variety of chocolate bean used. I never thought that there are so many beans, that chocolate beans that are being used. After seeing this and analyzing this, I came to know about it. So this is the data set that we are going to use. And here, it has the name of the company, the maker, company maker. So name of the company manufacturing the bar, chocolate bar, and what is the specific origin of the beans that are being used. And this is just a reference to the ref is the reference to the actual survey link. I think they have given some IDs. So this we won't be using in our analysis. And there is a review date. Actually, this should be called a review year because it's just, there's no date here, it's just the year. And cocoa percentage, it's in percent. And if we move here, cocoa percent, and where the company is located, the manufacturer, which country, and what is the rating. The rating is given between 1 to 5. So some have rated as 1 and some have rated as 5. We can see that in the data set. And most of the data is between 3 and 4. and the bean type, the actual bean type, and also last but not the least, where did the bean originate from? Okay, so 12% is from Venezuela and 11% is from Ecuador. So this is the actual stats of the file that we are going to use. So in order to download this file, I can paste that link in the chat if you want to download the data set. It will also be in the presentation that I have uploaded. Okay, so you can just click on the download button here so that it downloads. So once it downloads, now we will start the Power BI file. So I'll just go, okay. Before we start the Power BI file, before you start any visualization, the way I start doing the report is, first step is I want to just look at the data and then see what kind of questions can be answered using the data. So that's what I have put them here. Because I have seen the review year, I can count number of chocolates reviewed by year. That can be answered by this question, right? By this data set, right? And also, where are the best cocoa beans grown? And where are the chocolate companies located? And which countries produce the highest rated bars? What is the best bean type which will be used to get better cocoa percentage? And also, which company produced the best rating in 2016? Let's try and answer these questions as we build the data set, as we build the report. So, okay, I will not be referring to the PowerPoint presentation now. Let's start with starting the Power BI desktop. I just clicked on starting in and double click the Power BI desktop icon. And this is the first screen that you get to. So you can see that you can get data from here. But because this is the start screen, I'll just close this and then get to the actual Power BI file. So as soon as you open the Power BI file, you can see these 4 buttons. You can either try a sample data set. Sample data set has a, I think there is a financial load sample data. You can click on that, and then there is a financial data set, which I don't want to use. I want to use.
Sorry to interrupt you. We have one question. What is the min and max number of questions you should have for visualization? That is from your slides.
From my slides, that's okay. You can have any number of, depending on your data. You should have, the purpose is you should have at least one question to answer. Otherwise, there is no point doing the report. And maximum is your limit. Depends on your data. So if you have 5 columns, can you use all 5 columns and get 4 questions at least? So you have to see, you look at your data. If you know the business, then you can look at the data and then come up with your own question and answers. Mainly, you should have what is called a fact and dimensions. Dimensions are like countries. Those are the characteristics. Dimensions are the characteristics that will make up your fact. Fact is nothing but like a measures, like count of chocolates is one measure or fact, or even number of reviews is one of the measure, and also cocoa percentage, that also is a fact. So these are the measures and fact are in conjunction. I'm using them in conjunction with the which can be quantified is the measure or a fact. So I hope the question is answered. And you can use a lot of other, you can directly import from SQL Server if you have a on-premise SQL Server. And also you can paste data. You can use even Python queries to and create a blank blank query. Also, you can just create a data from a blank table. You can just click on it and then start typing your data. That also is there. But because we have downloaded a CSV file today, we can just go and get that CSV file. So here there is a get data button. I'm just going to go there and then click on the dot on the drop down. So here you have lot of ways you can connect to the data. So I'm going to use text or CSV. But if you click more, I just want to show you, if you click more, there are a lot of things that appear. There is more. It's taking a bit of time. Yeah, so here you can see everything. All means everything. You can have a lot of sources that you can use. See, a lot of the sources, and if they are grouped by file. So these file types are, you can go XML, JSON, and if you have files in the folder, you can just use the folder and then import all the files in the folder. So you can use all those. And also, if you go into databases, these are all the databases that you can connect to. And there is something called Power Platform. I don't know whether you have all heard. Power Platform is you can have Power BI datasets which you can publish onto the Power BI service. You can connect to Power BI data flows. There is something called Common Data Service in the Power Platform. You can connect to that. And these two are we are trying I think trying out beta versions. And some of you must have heard about Azure. Azure is a cloud platform. So you have a lot of things that you can connect to from Azure. There is a SQL database and Synapse Analytics and all these analysis services and all these things. And you can also connect to online services such as if anyone is using Microsoft SharePoint, you can connect to that, and then you can connect to Dynamics CRM, which is it's a CRM, Dynamics 365. You can also connect to Google Analytics, Adobe Analytics, and all these various Salesforce objects. You can also connect to SAP. Even you can also connect to GitHub and try out. And this data.world, I don't know whether how many of you have heard of Makeover Monday. Makeovermonday.co.uk is a website which provides weekly data set for analyzing data. So that data, most of that data comes from data.world. So you can directly connect from there and get the data set. And you have numerous. And there are in others, you have OData feed, and even you can connect to Outlook, Active Directory, all those things. So there is a lot of potential there. But for today, we are just going to use the text or CSV file. So I'm just going to click on that and then say connect. And then I have to choose my data set and just choose my data set. I'm not too sure where my data set is. Yeah, I'm choosing my data set, flavors of cocoa, and then I'm just going to open that. And so this is the window that opens. And like I said, if you don't want to do any modifications, you can just load. Otherwise, you can click on transform data. So we have finished the first step, getting data. Now we are going to the transform data. And once you click, I'm clicking on transform data. And once you click on transform data, what happens is there is a window which is called a Power Query Editor. So this opens, and this is where you can do all the transformations. You can also do transformations in Power BI Desktop, which is this one. But I recommend to do most of the transformations in Power Query Editor, because when you load those transformations when you refresh your data, when you change your data in and then reload it again, all the transformations automatically are done here. So I'm just going to do two things here. This one, I'm going, because this is a review year, I'm just going to change the name to review year, and also make sure that it's a whole number. And what else specific? Okay, company maker, it's a bit, the name is a bit confusing, so I'm just going to say maker company, because there are two companies here. Maker company, I'm just renaming that. And cocoa percentage is okay, looks okay. And company location, I'm going to leave it there. Bean type, there are some of the, yeah, bean type is A or something, yeah. And then broad bean origin. So this, I'm happy with this data. So I'm just going to go through what Power Query is in this step, because we are in Power Query. So when you imported the data, you must have noticed that there are some applied steps here. So if you want to undo something, so let's say I don't want to rename this review date to review year, or if you don't want to, we did two renames. One is maker column, and the company maker, and then maker company and review year. If you don't want to do that, if you just want to change that, you can just go here and delete that, and then you will the change will be back to normal. So you can go and delete most of the steps, and when you import it, these are the steps that automatically happen. So you can just go and view source. So here it is going to give you the source. You can expand it and then see this is the code that is being written automatically. And then it automatically promoted the headers. So when source, in the source, we are seeing column 1, column 2, column 3, but we want that. But that has we want the first row to be promoted to headers, so that the columns are called by that name. So that has been done automatically by Power BI. And then there is a change of type. They have all been changed to text, except rating and rating. Cocoa percent is percentage type, it has allocated. And also review type, I think review date, yeah, review date is integer. Okay, and then we can just go and do the rename. Just say maker company. Okay, so now I'm happy with the way. I think I want to just rename the table as well, table name. So cocoa flavors. Okay, so and just enter. So now I'm happy with my all my transformations. Now I have to apply these transformations so that they come under Power BI desktop. So I'm just going to, there is a button here, close and apply. So I'm just going to close and apply. You can do other transformations, like if you want to keep only rows that are not null. So you can do a filter. I'm not going to do that, but I'm just going to show you how you can do that. So if you want to eliminate all those that don't have, there was some nulls, I think. No, there are no nulls here. If you have any nulls in your data, so you can just remove those. I think, yeah, this is a miscoded thing, so you can just remove that. I'm not going to remove anything for now. I'm just going to close and apply. So it is applying the changes, and once it applies the changes, you can see the table and fields here. Okay, so the applying part is completed, and you can see the table and fields. Now, in Power BI Desktop, I'll just quickly go through the layout. There are 3 buttons here. So it's called 3 layers. One is report layer, data layer, and data model layer. So report layer is where you create your report, all the visualizations. And these are the visualizations that you can use to create. And if you go to the data layer, you can see all the data. So because we have one table, we can just see everything here. And if you have more than one table, you can link and create your model here. Link the other tables and then create your model here. I'm not going to do that because we just have one table. So we'll just go here, and I want to just create one column called a count column, because I want to know the number of chocolates by year. So I just want to create a count column. So I'm just going to go new column, and then count, and I'm just going to count as 1. This is not the best way to do it, but I just wanted to show you how to create a column. So I'm just creating a column. You can use a quick measure as well for that, but I'm going to use a new column, and the instructions are there in the presentation. So once we do that, now let's start looking at the questions. So first question is, what I remember is number of chocolates by year. So how do you create that visual? Okay, so here there are a lot of visualizations, and without knowing any of these, I just say number of chocolates, right? So I'll just say, because number is, I have created the new count, right? So I can just count the number. So the number, if you hover over it, there are 1795 reviews that were done. Okay, so now, but I want it by year. So by default, if you click on a measure or a integer column, it comes up with this visualization. This is a clustered column chart. By default it comes up, and what this has the properties of axis, legend, and values. Because you have clicked on the integer, it just by default goes into the values, and it sums up, it summarizes. You can change it to average, minimum, whatever you want to, but this is by default it takes sum. And now my first question was number of chocolates by year. So I'll just go and add review year. So here what happens is, because year is also considered as an integer, it automatically summarizes and then it goes and sits in values. But you all know that we can't summarize year, right? So then what we need to do is just remove that from here, and we need to change the data little bit to not summarize. So how do we do that? You just go here in the
Andrea,
review.
we
Yeah,
can we have one question?
sure.
So basically, one question is from our previous step. What's the difference between creating a column and measure? When do we use one as opposed to other?
Okay, I'll answer that. I'll just cover this part and then I'll answer that. Okay, so
Sure.
here, in the review year, because this is an integer, it is considering that you can sum it. So this part you need to change it to don't summarize. So once you do that, then just make sure that review year comes into the axis, because that's what we want. And then now we can see the visualization. So the maximum number of reviews were done in 2015. So the number of chocolate reviewers were maximum on in 2015. So to answer the question of what is the difference between column and a measure, column is, if you, I'm going to go to the data layer. If you want to create a column, it has to, the column that you are creating, the values of the column should be at the row level. Only then you can create a column. So for example, if you are creating a profit for each sales profit for each of the rows here, then you can create a column. Otherwise, if you want to create something like sum by category, sum by category, so that can be a measure. And when you create a measure, it dynamically changes and it won't appear here. When you create a measure, uh, it won't appear as a count. You can't see in the data layer, but when you put that in the report, then it changes by context. This data set is not a great data set for displaying the measure, but maybe I'll just try and see whether I'll just try and create a measure. Okay. So to create the measure, if you go to the table tools, you have new measure. So I'm just creating a new measure, and that measure I'm going to call it as what should I call, sum of okay, let's sum of count. Okay, so I can just say total chocolates reviewed. So I'm just going to say total chocolates. So when you create a new measure, it just comes up here as a in the formula bar. So whatever we give this side of the equal to sign, that is the name. So I'm just naming the measure as total chocolates. And there is a function called sum. The language that we use in Power BI Desktop is called DAX. Okay, and in that DAX language, we have a function called sum. It is very similar to Excel. Whoever is familiar with Excel, most of the Excel functions are there here. So there is a sum. So once you choose the sum, it automatically gives you IntelliSense. You have to provide a column name. So which column name will I provide? I'm just going to provide the count column, because we are summing the number of number of chocolates. So I start typing count, and then this gives the table name followed by the field name. So I'm just going to choose that and then close the brackets. And once you create that measure, notice you don't see the another column here, but it exists in the, see here, there is a total measure, and the representation also is a bit different. It's a bit different icon here. So here, if you see the total chocolates, now when I go into the report layer and I want to see total chocolates by year, so I just give total chocolates. Because it's an integer, it automatically came up with the clustered column chart. And then I'm going to add year again in this axis. Basically, we are doing the same thing because I don't have any other measure that I can calculate with the data set that I have taken. So this is the, yeah.
India, we have another question.
Yeah.
That is, kindly show combination of line chart and column chart in one visual.
Line chart and column chart. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So the line chart and column chart will be, there should be one. See, line and stacked column chart. Maybe I'll show you what could be the best. maybe cocoa percentage and total chocolates. Maybe we can try that. So if I, so you can, now we have the total chocolates by review year, right? If you want to change the visualization, how it looks, you can always change if you want to, because year is a time line. I don't want it to be displayed as bar, but I want to be displayed as a trend. So I can just change it by just clicking. Make sure you are clicking on the visual that you are trying to change, and you can just click on this one, and then it changes to line. Now what we want to do is we want to display both line and column chart. So I'm just going to click on that and then see what happens. So the year is coming up like this, and we want the column series. See here, dynamically this part changes. Shared axis is review year, and then one of the column values is total chocolates, and the line values is, let's say, what is the cocoa percentage. So if I go here and then put the line values, this is where the line values is changing. So the line values are cocoa percentage, and the bar values, the column values are total chocolates. So this is how you can represent. And for any visual, you can format them by clicking on this format button. So you can increase the text, and then you can change the you can, if you want to display the data labels, you can display the data labels. You can, if you want to change the color of the line. I don't want the cocoa percentage to be that color, but I just want that to be purple. So I can change that, or maybe red. So I can change that. And also, if I want the default color for the column to be changed, I can change that to yellow or something like that. So all the formatting, including the title changes, if you want to maybe change the shapes, shade the area, all those things, you can round, you can do a round or a everything you can change, all the styles. I'm not going to go there because formatting, anyone can do it. So you can do the formatting for any visual by clicking the format button. And if you want to change any data here, so you can change the data. So it's a good question, whoever has asked. I was not planning to show this one, but it's really good to show some of the complex visuals. Okay, so so our first question is answered. So what are the chocolates, total chocolates by year? So the trend is 15 is the 2015 is the maximum chocolate reviews, where in which the is the year where the chocolate reviews were done. And if we look at this one, the rating, okay, and the chocolate percentage is, okay, percentage is not displaying correctly. Let me check the data. Okay, percentage here, see here the percentage has changed. It's displaying as 0.7. So I want to change that to percent, so that it's really correctly representing when we are using that in the report. So if we go here, so this the representation of this percentage is wrong, right? So because that it is taking the value as sum, but usually we should do a percentage as average. Average means it will give you the average over that particular period. So average of the year. So average of the year is 72% cocoa. So in 2015, cocoa percentage, average cocoa percentage is 72%, something like that. And yeah, in 2000, which year is this? 2008. 2008 also, the average percentage is 72.7. So this is the most percentage, cocoa percentage. So if you have a question of which year was there was a maximum more average cocoa percentage, then you can say it's 2008 followed by 2015, I think. Yeah. So those are the kind of questions you can answer. So coming to our next question, I'm just going to go. Okay, I want to show you slices first. So I'm just going to.
We have another question from participants.
Yeah,
Can we see a Pareto chart, please?
Pareto analysis. Do we have it? I don't think we have a Pareto analysis. I haven't used it. Let's see. We don't have it in the actual visualizations that you can see here. You can either use Python or R for it, or let's try. There is something called marketplace. So let's try and see whether there is anything available in marketplace. So import visual, get more visuals. Okay, so just go get more visuals, and that will take us to. Oh, I need to sign in. Okay.
So, Elena, I don't know whether she has asked question. She has posted a chat, add on to upload not in standard. So, Alina, is it the question? Are you replying to that question? Can you please write it?
Yeah, it is not there. We have to. I think she did the answer. We have to import that from a custom visual. Yeah, that's a bit advanced topic. Shall we save that to the end? Because I need to sign in and stuff. We'll save that to the end. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I want to show you now is the concept of a slicer. So I'll just go in. So now we have. I'm just going to remove this one because we have nice line and bar column chart here. So and also I want to just give you a card visual. What card visual does is it just displays the total at any time. So I just want to display the concept of slices. Card visual will be a good way to explain. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add the number of chocolates into the card visual. I'm selecting that visual, and then I have to add a field here. I'm just clicking on the total chocolates. So total chocolates reviewed were 1795. So now I want to see the total number of chocolates by, let's say, by what? By let's say company location or company maker. So I have to make sure that I'm not clicking on any visual or this one. I'm just clicking on the outside, and then I want to include the maker company. So I'm just including the maker company by default, because that's a dimension. It just comes up with a table visual. I want to change that to a slicer. So there is a slicer visual just beside the table visual. I'm just going to click that. And here we have a maker company slicer. How does a slicer work? So if you want to see how many chocolates were reviewed for, let's say, I don't know, for this company, only one chocolate was reviewed, and that is for the year 2009, and the cocoa percentage for that is 70. Okay. But if you want to review, let's say I know that, I don't even know. Okay, let's do another. So this company's chocolates, 6 chocolates were reviewed in different years, and this graph shows So it dynamically changes. What I'm trying to get at is when you use a slicer, you can just create, you can just use it for that, the data changes for that value. So for this maker company, this is the review. So this is the report. So you can just create some bookmarks out of this and then do some analysis. So for this, the cocoa percentage was 70.89, and yeah, this also 70.89. But the number of chocolates reviewed are 9 and 13, something like that. So any questions about slicer visual? Have you understood what slicer visual is doing here? Okay, so because no questions, we can carry on. Now the next question that we had is, where are the best cocoa beans
Indira,
grown?
if you want to take a break because it's been 1 hour, so if you want to
It's
take
already
5 minute break, or you can
uh,
click that.
I think we don't have much time because of the questions. I think I'll continue if it is
Okay.
okay with everyone.
Yeah, it's okay for us, but if you are okay to speak because you are
Yeah, I'm okay.
continuously speaking. All right. So we have
That's okay.
another questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you show again how to make it a slicer?
Okay. Slicers can be made by only for dimensions. And I'm just going to remove this. Click on wherever you have. You can do it in two ways. You can either click on here or just click on the slicer. I just clicked on the slicer. So a blank slicer appears, right? Once you do that, you have to choose a field. So slicer, the field that you are going to choose should be a dimension here. So either company, maker, or in our scenario, we have either bean type or broad bean origin or company location or maker company or specific bean. Even review year you can have, but because we have the year here, I'm not choosing the year. So I can choose maker company, and then you have the maker company slicer here, and then you can choose whatever you want to choose. Okay, so I hope that is clear. So now I want to continue and then show you how to answer the question, where are the best cocoa beans grown? So I'm just going to create another page because I just want to create a bigger visual. So where are the best cocoa beans grown is, we have a company location. So that's what I'm going to use, because if you look at company location data, it is the country name. So before we do because this is country name, it automatically takes, I think, but best practice is there is something called data category. If you categorize them into one of these categories, then it is easier for the visuals to pick up. Because this is a country, I'm just going to mark this as a country. This is county and country, so don't get mixed up. So I'm just going to mark this as country. If you have data for latitude and longitude, you can mark them as you can categorize them as latitude and longitude. And if you have a barcode, you can categorize that as a barcode. And if you have URLs, image URL and a web URL, then you can categorize them also into those categories. Then the visualization will be easier. So now I have categorized the data as country, and I'm going to use company location. I just going to just click on that. And then because it is a country, it just comes up with data. And then the company location goes into location. If you have city data, you can just give city data here, city column here. So if you have latitude and longitude, you can provide those in these. So for each visual, as you must have noticed, this part is different. For a map visual, it is this. And we have already seen how it was with line and clustered column chart. And also for slicer, it will be only one field. And card visual, it will be only one field. So now we have where are the most company beans located. So we can give a count here. For the size, so that notice the size of the bubbles have changed. So here we can see biggest this thing. So USA is the where are the most reviews located. Okay, so that's how we can answer that question by location. And here you can also use a slicer of maybe year. So I'll just go slicer, and then I'll just choose year in the field. And by default, year comes up with a range. I don't want to show that as the range. I just want a list or a drop down. So because 2015 is more, so 2015, if I choose that, and then if I choose 2008, see the thing has changed. 2008, the most is 24 Ecuador and 22 USA. So the size of the bubbles have changed. So that's how you can create, one of the ways to create the visual showing the location. And the next question was, which countries produce the highest rated bars? So I'm just going to, because I want to see the same, which country has the highest located bars, highest rated bars. So I'm just going to create that visual with the highest rated bars. So I'm just going to go rating. This will summarize. Do we want summarize? Yes, we want summarize.
Okay, we have two questions.
Yeah.
So one is, have you tried Pro for AI including location visual? Is it good? Any restrictions and difference with Conda?
No, I haven't tried. I haven't tried to compare. But yeah, if you have, it depends on the data. If you have the latest, like the location, latitude and longitude will be the accurate one for the locations. Because sometimes same places will be in two different continents or in two different locations. Like for example, Hyderabad is there in India and Hyderabad is there in Pakistan. So for that, if we have the country as well, not just the city, then it will help. Otherwise, there'll be um, disparities. But I haven't tried the other things, only in Power BI. I didn't try to compare.
And next question is, when do you use filter or slicer? I can see a filter parent the right.
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. I'll show you now. So what the question that we are answering is highest rated bars, right? So which countries? So if I just go, if I just click on the rating, it summarizes, right? So that means the sum is 5,718, but the rating usually should be between 1 and 5, right? So I don't want it to summarize, but I just want it to do an average. So I'm just going to do an average so that the average of the total thing we will know. So the total average is 3.19 for everything, for all the 1795 reviews. So so this average, we want to know which country has rated high. So what should be our axis? Our axis should be company, location, company, right? Which country? Yeah. So if I do this, this is the perfect example to show filters. So average of rating by company location. So Chile has rated the most highest rated bars, which at the rate of 3.75, followed by Amsterdam followed by Netherlands, Amsterdam, Netherlands. Oh. And then Philippines. So that is the this is the order of chocolate bar ratings by country. So now coming to the question of filters. How do you do filter? This is displaying all the countries, but I want to just display top 10. Okay, so that will be, we are filtering this visual, only this visual, to display only the top 20. How do we do that? So here, if we come, average rating, company location, we want the display to be company location. So we want to display only those top 10 locations, right? So we just go there and click on this one. In the filter pane, we just click on the company location, because we want to display only top 10 locations. There are basically 3 types of filters. Basic filtering, so you can just choose what country, what location, what countries to display, but we don't want that. And there is something called advanced filtering, so where you can say which contains dam or something like that. We don't even want that. We just want top n. And then once you choose top n, then we want 10, right? Top 10 items, top 10 locations, and by which we have added what rating, right? So we need to add the data field here. Data field, our data field is rating. So I'm just going to add the rating here. Just drag this field here. Yeah, it already appeared. Now by default, it takes some. We need to make sure that it takes the average, and then you need to apply the filter. So now it shows only top 10 filters. Sorry, top 10 countries. Okay, top 10 countries. Now somebody asked the difference between slicer and filter. Okay, so now I have used filter to just filter out the top 10, to show the top 10 countries. Now I'll use a slicer for year. So I just got the slicer. I'm just going to make sure that it is more visible, and I'm just going to add the year to the slicer. So now I just want this as a list so that it's easy to. So now the first, in the top 10 for all the reviews, Chile is the first country. Let's see if it is the same for 2015. See that when you are using the slicers, it is getting changed to Scotland. So if you, slicers is to filter, not to filter. It's slicer, with using the slicer, you are creating a view for that slicer. But filter, using filter, you are creating the, to display only the, filters can be done, also filters can be done in 3 different locations. See, if I just click on this one, if I don't click on any visual, you can filter this by, or filter the page by certain category, and filter all pages. So all pages means all these pages. I don't want to filter all these pages. For example, if I just want to filter this by, what can be the, okay, let's just do a maker company. So I just add field here, maker company. So I'm just filtering it out by by company, by maker company. So I don't know, I haven't done this. So I'll just show, because this is showing 22, I'll just show this. And the company location is USA for that maker. So this will all, because we have done the filter on this page, the whole data or all the other thing will show only for that particular maker company, and nothing else. So that is the filter that you have added for that page. And the earlier filter that we have added was for that visual, for this page. And you can also add for the all the pages as well. Now I don't want to use this one, so I can just remove that, and then it will be back to normal. So I hope the question is clear now. So coming to the next question. So this way we can, I think we'll stop this using this data set here because of the time constraints. So this way you can start answering your questions and then create the report nicely to display the audience, target audience as to what they can, and try and follow best practices, which is for another session. I'm not covering best practices here. I'm just covering the basics. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'll just quickly go back to the PowerPoint and see what I have written here. So install, all this is done. So we have done the get data, transform data, but we didn't create a big model because we just had only one table. And then we have visualized using graphs, charts, and slices. Okay, so now yeah, we have answered most of these questions. You can answer the rest by going through the visualizations at your own time. And this is just how to create a new column. Okay, so now yeah, this is the demo. Okay, now we'll go to something called a analyze a quiz challenge. Okay, recently we have done a pink ribbon event where we ran a challenge, baby challenge. And how we did that was we created a Google form. This is nothing but a Google form. And then we created some questions. I think there are about 17 or 18 questions. Because this is done for a closed group. This is like a guess the baby challenge. So whoever is an adult now who belong to the group has supplied their baby photos, and then we have given some options to choose from. Who could this baby be? So each one. So there are about excuse me. There are about yeah, I think some, how many questions? Yeah, 18 questions are there. So each one of them, we had a live thing here. So I wanted to develop a Power BI report so that we can show these questions. We'll go through this same thing, get data from the Google Sheet and then transform data and then create a score column and determine who is the winner of the challenge. So I'll just let you know how you can import the data from a Google Sheet. I have put the instructions here. So once you create the form, see there are about 21 responses here. You can see the visualizations here, but you don't know which ones are correct, right? You just don't know the responses here. So what I've done is I've created a Excel sheet. So the Excel sheet is also online, which is here. And the link to the Excel sheet is here. So all the 18 answers, and then I have captured the name also who have responded. And the first one is a test of mine, I think. So there is no name here. So I'm going to import all this data. Just look at the data layout here. The data layout is in this direction from 1 to 18 horizontally with the name. So I'm just going to import that. It's not as easy as just doing a copy and paste in Power BI. So here, maybe I'll just use I'll just use this. So here instructions are, see there is a docs.google.com spreadsheets, yeah, Google Sheet.
Sorry, Indra, we have
Yeah,
one question. Is it Excel sheet or a Google sheet? I
it's a
guess it
Google
is.
Sheet. It's a Google
Okay.
Sheet because I have created a Google form. When you create when you create the response, you can create a Google Sheet out of it. So that's what I've done. And then I have grabbed the link from there. So here is how we have to grab the response link, and here is how it looks. So if you look at the instructions here, it says from this, you need to transform that a little bit, that the link to a little bit, we need to transform from this type of link to, we have to change it to this. So we have something called Google Sheet GUID. So it needs to, what we are trying to do here is we are trying to export that in a Excel form. And then we are, what are we trying to export it? We have to give the Google ID equals the same GUID. So I will do that here. So if you look at, see, this is my Google ID. So if I just copy this one and okay, I'll just copy this whole thing first. And then transform it to, so in this place, I'm going to give, I'm just going to delete that, copy this one, this whole thing, Control C, Control V, and format. I'm going to keep this as it is, but I'll just change this to the same. Now, what I'll do is I'll just copy this one, and this is the link that I'm going to import to Power BI. So I'm just going to import it here itself. So how do we get the data? So just go get data. And now, because that's a link, I'm just going to choose web connector. So I'm just going to choose web, and I'm going to give the link, paste the link here, and then click OK. Once you click OK, it just establishes a connection and then opens the navigator. Just waiting for the navigator to open. I wanted to show you, I have already the Power BI file. I'll show you the Power BI file, but I just want to show you the steps. Okay, so here the navigator is open, and then it will display, I think the net is a bit slow. It will open a responses sheet. This will be basically in Excel because we wanted to export it into Excel. Oh, this is a bit different. So I must have copied something else. Just give me a minute. Yeah, this is something different. Okay, so I'll just copy this one again. I have this one here. I'll just copy this one. Oh, the link is different. Okay. See, this is the link that we need to copy. Okay, so I'm just going to copy again. I'm just canceling this. And get
So,
data.
India, there is a question. Where is the link? Do we have same link in the slides? And if there is a link, is that the one correct link?
Yeah. I'm going to paste that link in the slide, or I'll paste that link here as well. Let me just
Yeah,
yeah,
please.
this is the correct link. So I'm just going to paste it in the chat as well. Oh,
That would be great. That would be great.
can't access chat wise. Okay, let me finish this and then I'll paste that in the chat because I'm not able to access chat now. Okay, so now see here, this is the link, and then if you just look in the forms responses, see, you can see the responses. Whatever you have seen in the Google Sheet is here, but this is not getting highlighted because I didn't tick on the tick box. So once you do that, I'm just going to click transform. And here is where you are going to transform data. So the transform data is going to be done in Power Query. So I'm just going to use Power Query. So here, just have a look at what I'm doing. What I want to do is I want to pivot this data, all the responses, including the name of the person. I want it by not horizontal, but by vertical, because I want to get the answers, compare it with the answers that I have. So first of all, I want to clean the data. I just want to filter this out wherever the person name is not there, because if the person name is not there, then we don't, if that person is the winner, then we don't know who the winner is. So I'm just going to remove that. So to remove that, just click on the drop down and then untick the none. And then that row is gone. And then there is a step created. Now what I want to do is this, highlight this one. And also I want to highlight this one. Control click timestamp. So apart from these two, I want to unpivot these other columns. So these 1 to 18 questions, responses to those questions, I want to unpivot. So in order to do that, I just go into transform and then click on the drop down of unpivot columns and then go unpivot other columns, because we have selected the columns that we want to keep it and then pivot the other columns. So I'm going to choose unpivot other columns. See, now you have the name of the responder. So I just can go rename it as name, and what the question is and what the value is basically the response. So now I can just create, I can just rename this as name of the person, just name. And here I just want to have it as 1, 2, 3 and not guess this baby, guess this baby. That is getting repeated, right? It's not a unique question. So I just want to remove that. I can either use replace values, or I can just, because there is a 1 dot everywhere, I can just split this column and then, highlight that and split column and then go by delimiter, and the delimiter is a dot. So I'll just go and specify the delimiter. Is there a dot? No, there is no dot. So just go custom and dot. And then I will just choose, there is only one, I know, but I'll just choose leftmost delimiter and then say okay. So that way I get the questions. So I'll just rename this one as question. And I don't need this column because this contains only guess the baby. So I'll just remove the column. So I'll just remove, and then this is the response. Okay, so now because of time constraints, I'll just show you what I have done. Power BI quiz, yeah, scoring app. You can reuse this by changing the Google Sheet IDs when you have other questions. So this is a very handy app where you can score the questions. And okay, while that is opening, I just want to show you what questions I am answering here. So because as I said earlier, we have to make sure you are answering some questions. So how many people answered each question correctly? That's what I want to know. And who are the top 3 winners? And what were the lowest answered questions? And what were the highest answered questions? Those are the 4 questions I had in mind before I started visualizing. So now this is open. Because it was for pink ribbon, I just colored everything as pink. And this one is, I just wanted some fun. I just change the font of this one to winding, so that there are some symbols, and I ask them to guess what this is. And so here, before we look at the report, I want to show you one more thing. I have imported the answers, the correct answers for all those 18 questions into another report as answers. And then I have created a model. So we have two tables. What is the answer and what's the response? And if we want, we can just link these two with question, because there is a question ID. I didn't do that. You can do that. And then our responses are here. And in the responses, what I've done is I have just created a score column. It's not a measure, it's a column. So the score column, if I click on that, what did I use? What formula did I use to create the score? So if the response is Aditi, for the first question, if the response is equal to the answer, then mark the score as 1, otherwise mark the score as 0. So in this one, the first question answered by this person is 1, that is, answer is correct. But the next one, the answer is 0, because these two don't match. That's what I have done. And also one more thing that I have done is, here I have created an answer column. I think I have done this in Power Query. So let's go into Power Query and then see how I have done it. So if I want to go to Power Query from the Power BI desktop file, I just go click transform data and transform data. So what I have done is I have created the, I think I have shown you till this, right? We have done this till here. We have unpivoted the columns, and then we have the question, and the value is the response. Now what I've done is I have added a custom column. So I'll just click on here. So the beauty of the applied steps is you can go back and revisit what is happening. And when you are here, it shows only the data only till this transformation and not the others. If you go here, it shows everything. See the answer. But I want to show you how I have done the answer. So I can show you here. So I have added a custom column where what I've done, what I've said is, before adding the custom column, I have imported answers which was there in my, let's go into source. In my local file, there is an answers Excel sheet, and then in that, so yeah, in that the answers here also I have just split by delimiter, and then rename the columns as remove the column, rename. So this is the final answer I have. Correct answer, C answer, I have the name as C answer as the correct, CANS as the correct answer. So if we go back to response and click on the and see how I have done the custom column here in Power Query, I am just getting from the answers table question equals question, question equals question. So once I do that, then I get the answer. This is the available columns is question, and I'm using that question, and then I'm getting the related answer from this answers table. So that's what I have done, and then that comes up as a record. So I'm getting the whole record into the same row. So if you click on the outside of the record, what you can see is, you can see both the whole table as a record, the row of the whole table. So question 1, answer is Aditi. So once you get that, it is like a link. So you can expand this. So expanded answers. So I have expanded the answers, and then got we don't need the question. We just need the answer. So I just got the correct answer. Now I've renamed them to what is the answer, what is the response, and what is the question. So that's how I have prepared the data transformed the data in Power Query, and then applied it. And once we go into this thing, because we have the answers, we can easily compare and create the score. Now let's go to visualizations and see how I have created the visualizations. So here I have just to have fun, I have created the bindings one. We'll see in the next page what the answer is for that, what I have typed here. So now I have, this one is a slicer of all the people who responded. And this one is a total score by question. So this is from 1 to 18. So here, by looking at this one, I know this is the least correct answer. So only 4 of them, total score is 4. So 4 of the respondents have answered correctly. This is the question 2. So this is the most difficult guess the baby challenge. And this was the most easiest. Total score is 12. Question 14, total score is 12. So this is how I could answer my question. And how many, each of the questions, how many answered correctly. So this question 1 was answered by 10 people correctly. So that's how I have displayed this one. And how did I display the winner? So I created a winner page, and then I have displayed the total score by name. And if when I display the total score by name, the people with highest score, one person has answered all correctly. So this person will be the winner, followed by this person. Only one difference, one answer was incorrect, followed by, now the gap between these two is 3 answers were not correct. So like that. And I have, you can order it, each visual, which I didn't go through in the other visualizations. You can sort them by descending, ascending, and sort by the column. So here I have sorted by total score and descending to get the winners in this way. And yeah, you can also go by question. I have created a slicer by question. So if I go question 10, who are the, it will always be, first one will always be the same, but you can have the others will be changed because the first one, that person answered everything correctly. So that's the that's how I have and also this is the guess the baby challenge, and the winner is, that's what I have typed here. So I just wanted to have some fun, so I have just done that. So that's how we can visualize based on the questions that we come up in the initial way. Any questions? Otherwise, we can just go. I think we have only 20 minutes, right? In 20 minutes, I don't know whether I can cover all the AI visuals, but let's see. So, okay, so let's continue. We have done the demo, and now AI visualizations in Power BI. There are default AI visualizations which can be used. One is the Q&A, which uses the natural language query, and key influences and decomposition tree. Let's quickly see that. Maybe first I'll explain what each one of those do, and then we can see the. Okay, so coming to the, okay, Q&A feature is it uses natural language. Let's say average rating, let's type these: average rating by cocoa percent by bean type, and average rating by review year. We'll do that. And then key influences are is a visual that you can use when you want to understand a metric. What are the factors that influence that metric? Like, for example, in our flavors data set, we can see what are the factors that are influencing the average rating. We can see that. And also the decomposition tree, what influences the highest rating for each. Oh, this is factor. It's not factors, it's factor. So what influences the decomposition tree? What is the tree? What is the trend for high value and low value? That's what we will see. Let's go into Power BI. Maybe we'll go to flavors. I think, yeah. Let's go to flavors, and I'm just going to display. I'm going to first display the Q&A visual. So these are the 3 visuals: Q&A, decomposition tree, and key influences. So first let's do Q&A. And just close this one. So once you click on Q&A, this is what you get. And you can start asking questions like normal language. So what I'll say is average rating. So average rating. Okay, it's suggesting average rating. So as soon as you choose average rating, it is giving you as 3.19. So our question is average rating by what was that? Let me see. Okay, average rating by cocoa percentage. So I will just say average rating by cocoa percentage. Cocoa percent. See it all. If the data is there, it comes up. So what is the average rating by cocoa percent? And then you can just pin this as a visual, and then it comes up. You can just, without knowing anything, you can just use the Q&A visual and then create the visual. Again, once more, let's use another Q&A visual and come up with cocoa percent by bean type. Cocoa percent by bean type. Bean type. Yeah, bean type. See, it automatically comes up with that one, and then you can just pin that and then get it, and then maybe you can just go add a slicer here for the year. Do we have year? We don't have year, right? So yeah, here, okay, because I didn't type average, this came up as sum. So for this one, I just go here again, do a Q&A. Yeah, make sure you are doing average, otherwise it's going to be. And there are lots of features you can train this Q&A. Average rating by see this one. This visual is much more meaningful than the other one. So the highest average rating is for that bean type. And then also now, if you create a slicer for let's say company location, and then maybe choose USA, your thing might change. So I'm just going to choose USA, and then
So
this.
we have one question from Sunila. The
Yeah,
percentage looks incorrect.
percentage. Which percentage looks incorrect? This one. This one is correct, right? Because that's
Sunila,
cocoa
you can
percentage.
copy.
Yeah, this is correct. And then this is the average rating, and this is the cocoa percentage. Percentage should be 100, right? So
She's
yeah,
saying this one is correct, previous one, but the previous one.
yeah. Previous one was not correct. Yeah, previous one means in this. No, this is not. Yeah, this is correct and this is correct, because the earlier one was not correct. That's why I changed it to average. Earlier one was, I just said rating by bean type, but we have to say average rating by bean type, because you can't summarize it. By default, it summarizes. So we have to change, we have to specify that it should be average. Okay, so you can use this in conjunction with slices and also everything. So now, because we have only 15 minutes, I'll go to the next visual, key influences visual. So I'm just going to use this. I'm just going to click on that, And then I don't have much data, but this is not a good data example, but still I'm just going to show you. I want to analyze the rating. Okay, so I'm just going to analyze the rating. So I'm just going to click on that. See here, it has analyzed and explained by. So I'm just going to analyze, but here I'm going to change. I have to remember to change to, because this is, yeah. I'm just going to change it to average. And then you can analyze by increase or decrease. I'm just going to say decrease. And you can, if you don't know all the factors, you can just drag and drop all the factors that you know. So just go bean type. I'm just trying this out for the first time. So I'm just going to add everything, because this one I will just go by company. Expand by company location. I'm just trying. So nothing is cocoa percentage. Yeah, maybe what I am thinking is cocoa percent is the one that influences the rating. And also let's track count. Yeah, so now so as and when you add the factors, it is going and analyzing, and then now it came up with something. So I'm just explaining what the concept is here. Here, when this should be read like this: when cocoa percent goes up to 0.61, that is 61%, there is the average of, there is a likelihood of the average rating decreasing by 15%. Not 15%, sorry, 0.15. There is a likelihood of decrease by 0.1%. Whereas the mean here is, yeah, it's 3 point something, 3.19 or something like that. So that's how you can interpret that. And I don't know whether you for the data we have, whether we have top segments. Yeah, we don't have top segments, so we can because the data is not that big, and that and also the factors, if we look at the factors, I am not too sure whether they affect, except the cocoa percent. I can't see any other thing affecting the rating, cocoa percent. And also if there is sugar content or something, maybe that those two would have been related. We can also use the slicer here for year and see whether that is changed. So you can use slicer in slicer in conjunction with the key influencer, and see whether the factors are changing. So if I do this, see for 2010, if the cocoa percentage goes up by 0.29, that is 29%, then the likelihood of the rating getting decreased is by 0.16. And if we go here, 2015, we know that their maximum, yeah, the likelihood is 0.17. So that's the effect of key influences. Without knowing any algorithms or anything, we can just analyze. But if we want to compare with whatever we are trying to, whether the results are accurate, maybe we can do a comparison with a Python analysis or a Python algorithms using Python code or R code, and see how what the difference is and things like that. So this is key influences, and I'm going to just cover the decomposition tree. So here also it's the same. So this is tree-like. So I'm just going to click on that, and then use the same thing, analyze by, because I don't have much data, analyze by rating, and explain by all the things that I want to add. So let's say cocoa person, company location, maker company, and maybe review year. So I have added all those things. So what you'd see here is, even though you have added that, once you add that, you see a plus mark. So I'm just going to increase this so that easily you can understand. So this has a, okay, this has a, if you click on the plus, what happens is you have something called high value and low value. So find the field that with the lowest value for rating. First, or else here the order that that appears here is based on the order that you give here. So I'll just go through this and then see which bean type. So here the type A bean type is the most factor influence that influences the rating. And among the type A bean type, what is the broad bean origin that influences the rating? So that is the Dominican Republic. And with the Dominican Republic, what is the company location? Ecuador, I think. Is it Ecuador? Yeah, USA. Okay, so then you get, so you can drill like that, whatever company and things like that. But if you want to, because now you are drilling it based on the order that you have given here. But what I want to do is I want to see what it comes up when I choose the high value. So I'll just go back again and see what is the metric that is influencing the high value. It is showing bean type. So by default, it is bean type. And what it shows is rating is highest when bean type is A. And if I want to show from here, what is the low value? So low value is maker, when the maker company is this. So it and then what is the high value with this one? So you can go like that and then choose and try and get some meaningful insights using this decomposition tree. So these are the 3 AI visuals that I wanted to cover. And yeah, there is one more that is in preview, which is anomaly detection, which is coming into maybe in a couple of months, or depending on the robustness, it will be introduced in the normal GA run. Generally, it will be generally available soon. So these are what I wanted to cover. Let's go and recap. It's a bit rush. So we have covered what is Power BI, analyze the flavors of cocoa. Hope you have learned something with that analysis, and how to analyze a quiz challenge that you create in Google Forms, and also a little bit highlights of what kinds of AI are there in Power BI. So that's me. Thank you for listening to me for 2 hours.
Thank you so much, Andrea. It was a really amazing session. I personally enjoy it, and I hope participants also have enjoyed it and learned a lot. Thank you so much once again for getting up so early and sparing time for us and sharing such a great knowledge. I really appreciate you, and we will do more advanced or more uh, uh, topic related workshops soon. Uh, yeah. So uh, thanks again. Thank you so much. Thank you for everyone for the uh, participation. Just let me share with you a few upcoming event, and then I might say goodbye to all of you because it's uh, already quite late.
Thank you all for attending.
it was really amazing. I must say it was very amazing. So but thank you everyone for joining from different part of the world and giving your feedback, asking really wonderful questions. So stay tuned for the future workshop. We are planning now to start from beginner to intermediate and advanced level series soon. Um, yeah. So next we have amazing Connect conference that is going to start December 2nd to 4th December. It will not be only from data science track. It will be from Women Who Code platform with various flavor, various good talks and webinars, and it's free to join. So if you want to join it, just go through the web page. Stay tuned at Slack. You will definitely like it. Secondly, if you want to know further about the event, about any update about uh, opportunities, so stay tuned with our social media basically handles. We have Twitter handle, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have LinkedIn page and account. So you can always join us, and thanks again everyone. Have a great day. Thank you so much. So if anyone want to say something, we are here, or if you want to leave, you may. Is that right? So Alina say excellent and thank you for great presentation. Yeah, it was really very great presentation. Thanks to basically Andrea.
Thank you, Elena. I hope I answered all the questions.
Yeah, if we still have 3 minutes, so if you want to ask any question, you can ask them. So Archana says, thank you so much. Learned a lot of new features. Yeah,
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, thank you very much, Indira. That was amazing. I feel like I have learned so much in 2 hours. So thank you.
Thank you. That's okay.
thank
It's
you.
good that you have learned something.
So, someone have posted a question where they can find out the links, uh, tutorials for Power BI. Can we hope to have next
Sure.
step
Yeah.
Power BI Shiny Tableau regarding server data processing for the above? For sure, we'll do that. And secondly, Indria is part of our community as well. You can talk to her directly. You can take her if you are facing any problem or you're looking for, some specific question. You can always reach out to her. She has already shared her contact. So you can join her, through her email or from our platform as well.
Yeah. I'm on Slack community. I'm on Slack community. So you can tag specifically me. Otherwise, I won't be. Usually, I'm not on Slack, but I'll get the email if you tag me. And also, you can connect me on LinkedIn or send me an email. Yeah, happy to answer your questions.
Okay. So if you don't have any question, I don't want to, make India stay up for so long. So you might, it's too early for you. You might have to, relax. So thanks again, everyone. Hope to see you soon at Connect and, some amazing upcoming event, probably from India as well. Okay, stay tuned. Take care. Bye.